Good evening. Hello and welcome to Zuczid's Cursed Tech Spooktacular Special. This year, Jesus Christ. Has he been sitting there the entire time? As you can tell, the theme of this year's special is the King of the Skull Servants, and I guess he has decided to show up. Welcome, King. So, essentially in this special, I want to become a Skull Servant. I will be creating nightmarish decks, showing them off to the King, and hopefully he will approve them. It seems like a great time as any to get started, so let's show off the deck that King died to perfect, Mill. And for the first iteration of King of the Skull Servants, Merchant Servants. If you don't know, Magical Merchant is an insane Yu-Gi-Oh card. Basically, you mill cards until you hit a spell or trap, and if you play a deck with only 3 spells, then you can essentially search them every time it resolves and mill most of your deck in the process. This is perfect for the King of the Skull Servants, which gains 1,000 attack based on each number of Skull Servants in your graveyard. And I've done this in the past with Magical Merchant, but you run into one major problem. You normally play power cards in the place of the spell, and once Merchant resolves, you only have one real push. You either need to wait until you draw another Merchant, or just essentially hope your mill was good enough to win the game. Which is why I have created this list, and it does what I like to call a loop of milling. You see, the card Veil of Darkness is very interesting in a Skull Servant list. How it works is every time you draw a card, if it is a dark monster, you can discard it and draw again. Essentially, it's milling. In this deck, this card can do 2 things. It either searches for your Magical Merchant, the only light monster in the deck, or itself, the only other non-dark card. The Magical Merchant searches the Veil of Darkness, and the Veil of Darkness effectively searches the Magical Merchant. Your goal is to draw one of these 6 cards in your opening hand, and once you find one of them, you essentially can find all of them. And in the process, you mill a lot of funny cards. You have the Vayus, which are great, the Skull Servants, which are great, and some interesting techs. First of all, the Dark Creator. It is a free special summon if you have more than 5 dark monsters in the graveyard, and essentially you will always have more than 5 dark monsters in the graveyard in this deck. It can bring back King. It can bring back another one of my favorite cards, Chaos Necromancer. Sometimes this card can just have more attack than King of the Skull Servants. It's funny, it has the exact same attack gain as Montage Dragon, so if you have 27 monsters in your graveyard, then it will have 8,100 attack. Another hilarious card in this deck is the King Bayu. I love this card because you can use it to revive the level 1 King and attack for game, or you can also use it to revive the Chaos Necromancer. And the final boss of the deck has got to be Rainbow Dark Dragon. This card is insane. Essentially, you need to have 7 differently named dark monsters in your graveyard to summon it, a task that is difficult for any deck besides this one. And then once it is summoned, you can banish all other dark monsters to make it gain 500 attack for each one banished. You need 8 more in order to get it to 8,000, but it can easily go well above 8,000. Essentially, this is going to be the last thing you do in your big push. You ideally want to make Black Rose, make Mistworm, make whatever, try to bait out all their cards, and then you just drop this giant bomb and effectively win the game with a giant monster. Yeah, let's get into the duels.
I hope you all are having a happy Halloween, because in this first duel, Halloween has blessed us with both Merchant and Veil of Darkness. So, we just do that, and now we end our turn. My opponent's going to set a couple of cards and pass their turn, and in the draw phase, we can activate Veil of Darkness. This will let us discard the Skull Servant, and we can just keep doing this. You know, we keep sending darks to the graveyard, and we just keep going, and then we keep going, and we're still going. finally we get to a magical merchant, but we have one already on the field. So we're going to flip that up. This will let us mill a lot more cards. So we keep going and we keep going. And now we have milled 24 cards from our deck. And I do not feel like thinking, so I'm going to just use some values, see if he has anything to respond to. We can just get out another one. And then we are going to normal summon this King Bayou, bring out the king himself. He is sitting at 5,000 attack. We go into the battle phase, and he has Mirror Force. He used Mirror Force, but I mean, we have 24 cards in the grave, so we just we just pass our turn, and then my opponent is gonna set a back row, set another back row, and pass his turn right back to us. And look at that, we drew another dark, so we can use Veil of Darkness. Actually, we decided to keep the Dark Grepher. We're going to special summon it from our hand, use its effect, sending the Lady in White to send a Plague Spreader. Then we're going to use the Plague Spreader, and I'm just doing a terrible job. I should have played this differently, but we're going Brionic. He's gonna think for a second. We're gonna use Brionic to bounce the monster, and then he decides to show us that he has been on aliens the entire time. So that's fun. He's going to flip up this card, tribute an alien to destroy our monsters, and each monster we summon gets an alien counter. So I appreciate him following in the Halloween spirit. Are aliens Halloween? I don't know, but we just believe in ourselves, and we know for a fact that those back row are nothing, because we just know there's no way they're not. So we banish 7 individual dark monsters to summon this, and then we can use its other effect to banish all other dark monsters from your field and graveyard, and it gains 500 attack for each one. So we do that. We banished 20 dark monsters, so our Rainbow Dark Dragon is at 14,000 attack, and they were nothing, so we win the game. We win game number 1. Great job. Nice. Let's go on to game number 2, and Magical Merchant yet again. Thank you so much, King, but maybe this game will go a little differently. He's going to use an Reinforcement of the Army, get a Stratos, normal summons that Stratos, adds an Alias from his deck to his hand, and then he's just going to set a back row and pass his turn, and we draw another Magical Merchant. We're going to set a Merchant and pass. That's kind of this deck's dream first turn play. He's going to summon the Alias, go into the battle phase, and he will trigger our Merchant, and then we will mill, and we keep milling. This is insane, because I have 3 copies of Veil of Darkness, and apparently all 3 of them are at the bottom part of my deck. So we mill 25 cards. Yet again, we get the Veil of Darkness to our hand, and then it is still his battle phase. So I will take the 1900, and we draw a king. So we are in a pretty good position. And we are just going to special summon this Dark Creator. This will banish a Dark to summon out the Chaos Necromancer. And because we have 25 monsters in the graveyard, he has 7,500 attack, which is not too bad. We're then going to normal summon this King, which will be at 5,000 attack. And this is just the scariest video of all. Look at all of these Halloween monsters. We attack, and he is going to use Gemini Spark, destroying our Chaos Necromancer. And then we will attack him again with our Dark Creator, and then again for 5,000 with the King of the Skull Servants. And now we are just going to activate Veil of Darkness and pass our turn. We are in a very good position with this Battle Fader. He's going to normal summon an alien dog, and then he's going to go into the battle phase, and that's fine with me until he reveals the Honest. So this alien dog will become 6,500 attack, probably. Oh my god, too honest? That means this alien dog will get up to 11,500 attack. And he has used the power of the Skull Servants against me, and now I'm dead. So, that just happened. Let's go on to game number 3, and surely the king will not smile on me yet again, and I have not drawn any of the cards to mill, so we'll have to play a real game. Oh, just kidding. Hello, Veil of Darkness. We are going to set the Necro Garden, activate Veil of Darkness, and pass our turn. My opponent draws for turn. They're then going to activate Mind Control, thinking this is a Magical Merchant. They believe that we drew Magical Merchant 3 games in a row, but unfortunately, we did not, so that's actually quite good for us. And then he is just going to flip up this Necro Garden, set a monster, set a back row, and pass the turn. And in the draw phase, we draw a dark. And then we draw a light. So that's not that good, but the light is the Magical Merchant. We are just going to go into the battle phase, attack his monster. We will take 200 damage, and we reveal another one of his aliens. And then we're just going to set a monster and pass our turn. He's going to normal summon an alias, attack into our Necro Garden, and then activate Gemini Spark on the Veil of Darkness. He will draw a card, and then he is just going to set a card and pass his turn. And unfortunately for him, I have Magical Merchant, so the Veil of Darkness is not that much of a problem anymore. But I tell my opponent not to worry, because the next card will be Veil of Darkness, and this will not be a very big mill. And then we proceed to mill 20 cards again. I swear, the king just wants me to win these games. Are you kidding me? So, for the 3rd game in a row, we have found ourselves with over 25 cards in the graveyard. We special summon the Dark Refer from our hand. We're going to use Dark Refer's effect, sending this Lady in White, and to send a Chaos Necromancer. We're then going to use the Plague Spreader Zombie, stacking the Veil to summon it. We let our opponent think for a while, and then we go into a Black Rose Dragon because of that level 1 Magical Merchant left on the field. We activate the effect of Black Rose Dragon, and he did not have anything, although this Curse Seal is kind of cool. And then we are going to special summon the Dark Creator from our hand, use its effect, banishing a Dark to summon Chaos Necromancer, and then we are going to normal summon King Bayou, and we have finally done it. Every single Skull Servant is in the graveyard, and we have reached the 8,000 attack King of the Skull Servant dream. And just to rub it in his face, the Chaos Necromancer is 400 more attack.
What did you think? I mean, I thought the King Bayou was kind of cool, and Jesus, when did he get a knife? Why does he have a knife? Okay, I guess he didn't like it at all. He's holding that knife in a very... Okay, we'll scratch that idea. The king didn't like it. You know what? He's right. He's right. I was thinking too much like a mill player. I need to think more like a Skull Servant. I need to dive deep into the recess of jank in my brain and truly come up with something heinous. Is that what you want? Is that really what... Okay, he's threatening me with a knife. I need to come up with something better. King! Okay, I've got it. It's so degenerate, no one would ever play it besides me. Would that satisfy you? Okay, this deck unironically plays 4 pieces of Exodia. And doesn't play the head.
So, this is the deck. We have created one of the wildest looking decks, I think, ever. I mean, what other deck plays 4 pieces of Exodia and doesn't play the head? I mean, this deck is so insane. I have so much... Okay, basically, we are playing Ritual OTK Skull Servants. Advanced Ritual Art is a crazy card. If you use it with a level 8 ritual, you can send 8 level 1 normal monsters straight from your deck to the graveyard. And in this deck, we are sending 3 Skull Servants to make our King of the Skull Servant instantly 3,000 attack. This is actually pretty great because it helps set up the OTK with your Exodius. This card gains 1,000 attack for each normal monster in your graveyard. So after resolving this guy gets very large. Also, we are playing Rainbow Dark Dragon. If you send 8 differently named normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard, yeah, this guy is instantly live. So we're also playing the Veil. A lot of the same ideas as the last one, but probably in the craziest, most bizarre looking shell I have ever seen. So let's see if this deck will make the king happy, I guess. Now it is time to show off the Ritual King OTK. And thankfully for us, our hand looks pretty decent. We've got a starter in Manju, so we are going to normal summon that. That will add an ARA from our deck to our hand. We're then going to activate Veil of Darkness and then pass our turn. My opponent's just going to set a monster and pass his turn, and we draw Goblin Calligrapher. This guy is very good at writing the word false. Such a funny card. And then we draw a Veil, so we're just going to go into the battle phase, clear his Dandelion. He gets 2 tokens, and then we're going to activate another Veil of Darkness and pass our turn. He's going to normal summon a stone, banish that stone to summon out a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. He's going to use that Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon to special summon a Debris Dragon from his hand, a very interesting choice. And then he's going to synchro summon into an Iron Chain Dragon. He's going to go into the battle phase and clear our Manju. We will be forced to mill 3 cards, and unfortunately we would have been able to get to this demise through the Veil, but instead we draw an Exodius, and I decided to not activate Veil because Exodius is exactly what we need. We're going to go into the main phase, special summon that Exodius from our hand. This will shuffle back all of our monsters, and thankfully it will also shuffle back any normal monsters in case we need them in the deck. We're then going to use Preparation of Rites to add a Garma Sword from our deck to our hand. We can then use Advanced Ritual Art. This will send 3 Skull Servants, and I kid you not, 4 pieces of Exodia. Look at this mill. This is the funniest mill I've ever had. So we summon out the Garma Sword, and our Exodius is at 7,000. The King is at 3,000. Now we can go into the battle phase, and on declaration, the Exodius can send any monster from our deck to the graveyard. And so, we will send the King of the Skull Servants, which will make this king 4,000 attack. So now we can attack over his Iron Chain Dragon for some damage, putting him exactly in range to be killed with the Garma Sword. I mean, if that's not a King of the Skull Servant OTK, I don't know what is. Oh my god.
Why does he still have the knife? Can you put the knife away? I guess... How is that not good? The Exodius sending the final part of the Skull Servant? I mean, come on, what? You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this guy isn't even the king, you know? Maybe he's just a normal Skull Servant. Like, how do I know he has any power? Like, he's not doing the pose. He's not doing that thing with his hands, you know? He's like, come at me. This guy just is super into knives for some reason. So, you know what? Maybe I've been serving the wrong person, skeleton, the entire time. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. But where should I look? Maybe, just maybe, I've been looking in the main deck. I need to start looking in the side deck.
Now it is time to serve the real king of Halloween, Exodia. And the good thing for us is we don't need to go very far at all because he's been waiting in the side deck the entire time. You see, this deck in front of you is a smokescreen from the last deck. You take out 15 cards, slot in these 15 cards, and you got yourself a very funny Exodia deck. Is it the best way to play Exodia? No, but you were already playing 4 of the pieces, so maybe you just try it out. The whole idea is Advanced Ritual Art can send the 3 pieces of Exodia as well as a bunch of other normal monsters, not only does this almost immediately turn on your beginning of the end, but it also allows you to use the card Backup Soldier. This card lets you add 3 pieces of Exodia from your graveyard to your hand, so you're essentially searching them out of the deck, and then after you do that, you just need to draw the other 2 pieces, and maybe beginning of the end, Hand Destruction or Veil of Darkness will get you there, or maybe just the floodgates will. Let the Shadow Games begin. Happy Halloween, fellow opponent. I hope you are prepared to face one of the most degenerate decks I have ever made. And this is the first time Exodia is appearing on the channel, so let's see how it does. And based on this opening hand, with this guy's hand in a very strange position, like why is it coming straight out of the center of his chest? He sets a back row, summons a Sangan, and attacks us for 1,000. He's going to pass his turn, and we draw a Garma Sword. We're going to set a monster, he's going to summon a Card Trooper, mill 3 cards, and he's going to attack us. We will take 1,000 damage, and then we are going to draw for turn a beginning of the end. That is perfect. We're going to summon this Manju. This will get a Demise to our hand, summon the Demise, sending a bunch of normal monsters, and also 3 pieces of Exodia. We're going to summon the Demise and activate priority, but unfortunately it is a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. He will get a ton of value, and we are set back a little bit, but thankfully we can activate this beginning of the end, banishing 5 dark monsters, and we draw 3 cards, including the Backup Soldier. Very good to see. We are missing 2 pieces. We set a card, activate level limit, and pass the turn. My opponent is just going to summon a Rocket, use its effect to add a Blaze Accelerator from their deck to their hand. They're going to summon Quick Draw, discarding Dandy. They make the Drill Warrior. They're going to use Drill Warrior's effect, banishing itself, discarding a Shell. Then they're going to use Shell to add another Shell, and then they pass their turn. We draw a Tragodia, which is pretty good, but now we're just kind of in a waiting game to try to get the other pieces. They're going to do Drill Warrior stuff. This will let them add back the Raikou, which is very good for them. They're going to activate Blaze Accelerator, discarding the Shell. Then they're going to use Shell. They're then going to set a monster and pass their turn, and we draw a Battle Fader. We set the Backup Soldier and pass. They're going to flip up this Raikou after activating Drill Warrior one more time. This will destroy the level limit and mill 3 cards. They switch Rocket to attack and attack us for 1,900, and then we will summon this Tragodia. They set 2 more back row and pass the turn to us. We draw a Manju. Then we're going to activate Hand Destruction, discarding 2 of our rituals that are dead, and we draw into a Floodgate and a piece of Exodia, so not too bad. We're going to set a couple of cards and pass. They're going to get the Drill Warrior back in the standby phase. They add a Quick Draw to their hand, and then they're just going to use the Drill Warrior to half its attack. They're going to go into the battle phase, and we are going to use this Battle Fader. Funny that you can use this even though you have monsters on the field, as long as it is a direct attack. They're then going to use Drill Warrior yet again, banishing itself, and just, I mean, the amount of Drill Warrior activations this game. And there is a very good card, the beginning of the end. But we cannot activate it yet because we do not have enough monsters in our graveyard to not banish a piece of Exodia. So we are just going to pass our turn. My opponent draws for turn. They're going to summon back the Drill Warrior, adding back a card. Then they are going to summon the Sangan, activate Drill Warrior's effect to half, go into the battle phase, and then we will activate this Karibo. Then they're going to attack over this Tragodia, and then attack into this Battle Fader, then banish the Drill, and then we draw a left arm of Exodia. This is very good. We already have the Backup Soldier on the field, so we try to bait out a Solemn with the beginning of the end. We draw 3 more cards, yet another Backup Soldier if this one gets stopped, and then we can activate Backup Soldier, and my friends, he has arrived. Happy Halloween. I mean, come on. First Exodia on the Zuczid channel?
So, in the end, I think we both learned what makes Halloween so scary. Floodgates. It was always floodgates. And after this, I'm kind of scared of knives. I don't know why he's so into knives. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this year's Halloween Spooktacular. I hope you all enjoyed it. 3 incredible decks that no one would play except for me. So if you want to terrorize people, try them out. Enjoy Halloween, play some scary, spooky cards, and just you know, just have a good time. You know, scare someone, scare yourself. You know, take that extra step. You know, try something new. Happy Halloween. I'm gonna take this away from him. Also, you see these candles? I burned my tie. I completely ruined my tie on these tea lights. Also, this is not real fire. That's a computer screen. I'm gonna end it there. Thank you. Happy Halloween.